We're in the Baird Urban Sports Park downtown, and we are setting up dozens of TVs, dozens of computers, projectors, all kinds of things for all of the games that we're about to show at local Game Harvest.
Louisville Makes Games is a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting game development in the city and surrounding area. To that end, we host a variety of events related to game development. This local Game Harvest is one such exhibition.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Every single one of these games was made by a local creator from Kentucky or Indiana, around those areas. Our main goal is we want to let people know that this is going on, right? And we want to make it a big deal so, people can't miss it. I started getting into video game development on my own, teaching myself, and sort of doing it all completely solo. And I just assumed, I was like, oh, there's probably nobody else around me who's as interested in this as I am, because I just couldn't find them. But then I found out about Louisville Makes Games, and really, it's just been like the single biggest help for me throughout the process of becoming a game developer and being able to express myself in that way and do what I want.
Some really good advice I've heard was never work alone. What that means is you can have a solo project where you're doing all the things, wearing multiple hats, but if you're doing that alone, as in you're the only one looking at the game all the time, you're working in a vacuum. The importance of finding a community is you're going to get feedback that you hadn't heard before. You're going to see things about your work that you haven't seen before. You're going to get inspiration that you wouldn't have otherwise found.
For an event like this, I think the reward people really get out of it is just being able to see members of the public playing their game and having a good time.
I would invite anyone who's a developer. I think local Game Harvest is an event that's quite unique to not only Kentucky, but I think the region. I don't think there are many events where we're projecting video games directly onto the buildings downtown.
If you're hearing about Louisville Makes Games for the first time, please go to LouisvilleMakesGames.org, where we talk about when we're doing meetups. They're always free, always open to the public. So if this is something that sounds cool to you, please just see what Louisville Makes Games has coming up and show up.
Welcome back to Louisville Now. We're coming to you live from the Mary T. Maher Aquatic Center, and we've had a great show so far, but here comes a big day. Louisville Gives for Good. It's somewhat of a holiday here in Louisville. It is this Thursday coming up, and it's your chance to give back to your favorite charitable organization. Whatever your preference may be, whatever nonprofit that you love, a chance to give back, and that money gets doubled. So it's a huge day on Thursday. Let's talk about an entity that you can help. Louisville Makes Games. Alex Bezuska is with us. Alex, you're on the board of directors of Louisville Makes Games, right?
Yeah.
All right, Alex, we're gonna have some fun here. Okay, first of all, I have to be transparent. I'm not a gamer. So give me something that doesn't go over my head, that gives me a little bit of a grasp of what you guys do.
Yeah, so a lot of people who play video games, they might not know much about the folks who are actually creating them. And so the whole point of our organization is to give some transparency to that and to show that normal people, people in your community, maybe even your neighbors, are people who are making games. You don't have to work for a big company to make games. You don't have to be one of the 5 companies like Nintendo and Ubisoft and Blizzard and those companies to make video games. You can be part of a small team, or you can be an individual and make something yourself, because there are tools and resources out there on the internet that you could find and do things for free. And we try to promote that. And so we have all kinds of events that we do at our space, Warp Zone Louisville. We do classes, workshops, we do meetups and networking events. We do game jams, which are it's just exactly like it sounds, like jamming like musicians. So people come together for a weekend and work on a project based on a theme. And at the end of that weekend, you have a small game that you've made with some folks that you may have just met at that event. So we do all kinds of events like that.
That to me is absolutely amazing. You mentioned there you said jam session.
Yeah.
The analogy I would use would be that it's a lot like music, in that now you can go on YouTube and get famous, and suddenly you go viral or whatever. In this case, if you get a game that happens to resonate with gamers, you really could go viral and perhaps get with one of the huge companies, right?
So it's tricky. We don't like to give people false hopes. It's
Sure.
kind of like if a kid is growing up playing basketball and they think
They're
that they
Michael
want to
Jordan.
be an NBA player.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen for everybody.
True.
And a lot of us, I would say most of us, just do it out of passion for wanting to make things.
Better reason.
Yeah, and it's also less discouraging because the end result of something that you make in a weekend or something that you make with your friends is a new game or experience, some kind of interactive art existing in the world that didn't exist before. And so we like to let people use it as a creative medium, something to express themselves. And there's so many different disciplines that go into making games. It's not just programming. A lot of people just assume like, well, I'm not a programmer. I can't get involved in that group because I don't know how to code. There are people that come at it from all different angles, like artists, storytellers, musicians, people who do sound effects, voiceover work, people that just do story and all kinds of stuff. And there are also game engines and tools out there that you can use that don't require you to write any code. So you can make like choose your own adventure type games or anything with this engine called Twine that's just free and you could use it in your web browser. And so the tools are out there and we just want to let people know about them and promote creating things and making stuff. So we're an arts organization primarily. We're a community first, and we made the nonprofit to support that community and to also run a physical space called Warp Zone, where we host all of our events and have we do everything out of there. It's the home base.
This is interesting, Alex, because I had this stereotype of gamers of, sitting in the basement playing games all day. But what I love about Louisville Makes Games is this is like encouraging innovation, encouraging friendships, community, getting together, because a lot of the attraction on being on a team is that camaraderie and that making of friends and also using your brain. I mean, this is fantastic. I don't see a downside here is what I'm saying.
I mean, it's a tricky industry to get into if you're in it to try to make a living off of it. Like a lot of things, a lot of careers or hobbies in the arts, it's something where it's really tough. And like, so a lot of friends of mine who start off, they start off as a kid, they get interested in computers or something and they start learning to code, and then they think like, oh, I want to use this to make video games because I love video games, I want to make them. And that industry is tricky to get into. So we try to make it a community thing and a thing where you can work on your passion projects and share your ideas and all that stuff. It's not so much about trying to make a profit, but it's about that, because you can get a job doing programming at like a medical company or something, and you're going to make a better living, at least here in Louisville. But if you want to express yourself in a creative way, this is kind of like an outlet for a lot of people.
I love it.
And so
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about Louisville Gives for Good, which is this Thursday. If someone wants to give to Louisville Makes Games, before we get into how they do that, because I want a little bit of a tease here, you've got a lot going on this week, Alex.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so we're calling this Giving Week. We're starting it off tonight. We have a thing that we're calling it's the Hackers 30th anniversary party. There's a movie that came out in 1995 called Hackers. It's kind of a corny movie, but it for people in my generation, it was like a thing where it was like maybe your first introduction to like doing interesting stuff with computers, and it got me interested in computers. And so it's just a fun thing. We're going to play games and have a little like hacker theme party tonight. Then tomorrow night we have what we're calling it's basically a release party for our second music album that we produced. And so every year we do a thing called a music jam, where we ask local musicians to come into our space and make a music track for a fictional game. So you'll pull ideas out of a hat and literally, and then you make music based on that for a game that doesn't exist, just as an exercise, creative exercise. And then we put them all together and make an actual CD, and we sell that CD for donations. And so we're having a release party for that tomorrow night. We're live streaming it on our YouTube and Twitch.
Well, you got a lot going on.
Yeah. And then on Wednesday, we have Indie Work Night Live, which is basically we're going to do interviews with game developers and talk about projects that they're working on. And then Thursday, we're doing our big live stream, which is all day long. We're starting at 10 a.m. and going until midnight, and that's going to be our big day where we're trying to get folks to donate to our Give for Good campaign.
So they just scroll down, look for Louisville Makes Games.
Yes, you could search for it. You can also go to lmg.cool. That's our short URL.
And you are cool.
Thank you. Well, thanks. So you can go to LouisvilleMakesGames.org or lmg.cool, and we'll have the information on there. But we're looking for the donations help out a ton. We're planning to do a kids camp next year, summer camp, where kids can come in and learn art and code. And so all of the events and things that we do are all free and open to the public. And so we try to use all of the money. We do use all of the money for promoting this creation of games and making stuff.
A very worthy endeavor. I mean, using your brain, making friends, it doesn't get any better than that. So once again, Louisville gives for good. Don't forget about Louisville Makes Games. Give generously. Okay, coming up on Louisville Now, I'm looking forward to this one. My dear friend, and a dear friend of the city, someone who has been working for the people for a long time, a guy I admire a lot, Ron L. Brown. I can't wait for you to meet him. He's coming up next on Louisville Now.